it's just like a little round yellow guy. He goes around eating up dots, and if you eat the Energizer, he can eat the ghosts that are following around on it.
A landmark in video game history and among the most famous arcade games of all time, Pac-Man became a worldwide phenomenon in the early 80s. Pac-Man managed to create a genre in which appealed to both males and females. Pac-Man is universally considered to be a classic in the history of video games and an icon of 1980s pop culture. It spawned numerous sequels and merchandising tie-ins, plus an entire genre of maze-chasing style video games.
Late yesterday I cancelled a carefully planned operation which was underway in Iran to position our rescue team for a later withdrawal of American hostages who've been held captive there since November 4th. Equipment failure in the rescue helicopters made it necessary to end the mission. As our team was withdrawing after my order to do so, 2 of our American aircraft collided on the ground following a refueling operation in a remote desert location in Iran.
Someone who has AIDS, take a good look. Before AIDS kills him, it can give him a fever that won't go away, purple sores that won't go away, and then maybe pneumonia or a brain tumor or something even worse that won't go away. Then finally, he'll go away. That's all. This is AIDS. Look at it. You get AIDS by having sex or sharing a needle with someone who has the AIDS virus. So don't ask for AIDS. Don't get it.
The attempted assassination of President Reagan in March 1981. This rare, unedited video of the shooting captures the chaos and stunning clarity.
I'm Angelica for WatchMojo. First on Friday's Woman of American Politics is Sandra Day O'Connor, who was the first woman appointed to the U.S. Supreme Court by President Reagan in 1981.
Eyewitness News update.
5 people are now dead, 1 in critical condition after taking extra-strength Tylenol. Bottles of the pills with the serial number MC2880 are being recalled.
November the 13th, on this date in history, it was 1982, the dedication of the Vietnam Memorial, that beautiful black V out there on the Washington Mall, and what an outpouring of emotion. If you've ever been there, it's like a church. It's all so reverent and quiet and so real. Fabulous piece of Americana.
My fellow Americans, some 2 months ago, we were shocked by the brutal massacre of 269 men, women, and children, more than 60 other Americans, in the shooting down of a Korean airliner. Now, in these past several days, violence has erupted again in Lebanon and Grenada. In Lebanon, we have some 1,600 Marines, part of a multinational force that's trying to help the people of Lebanon restore order and stability to that troubled land.
The fact that I was going to be the first American woman to go into space carried huge expectations along.
What if free people could live secure in the knowledge that their security did not rest upon the threat of instant U.S. retaliation to deter a Soviet attack, that we could intercept and destroy strategic ballistic missiles before they reached our own soil or that of our allies? I know this is a formidable technical task, one that may not be accomplished before the end of this century. I call upon the scientific community in our country, those who gave us nuclear weapons, to turn their great talents now to the cause of mankind and world peace, to give us the means of rendering these nuclear weapons impotent and obsolete.
Ladies and gentlemen of the convention, my name is Geraldine Ferraro. I proudly accept your nomination for Vice President of the United States.
On January 24th, Apple Computer will introduce Macintosh. And you'll see why 1984 won't be like 1984.
Reports emerged this year in 1985 that there was a hole in the ozone layer above Antarctica and it was growing larger. Because the ozone layer naturally shields the Earth from the sun's harmful UV rays, The hole in the ozone layer meant that there was a higher incidence of skin cancer, as well as negative effects on crops and animals.
Velocity 2,257 feet per second. Altitude 4.3 nautical miles. Downrange distance 3 nautical miles. Engines throttling up. 3 engines now at 104%. Challenger, go with throttle up. Challenger, go with throttle up. 1 minute 15 seconds. Velocity 2,900 feet per second. Altitude 9 nautical miles. Downrange distance 7 nautical miles.
Good evening, everyone. Well, the law of gravity hit Wall Street today and financial markets around the world, for that matter, as stock prices plunged even more than they did on Black Tuesday of 1929. When the dust settled, the Dow Jones Industrial Average had lost more than 508 points on volume of 604 million shares. That's nearly double the previous record. We have reports on the impact of the crash from New York, London, Washington, and Chicago.
Life in the modern world has a new anxiety these days. Just as we've become totally dependent on our computers, they're being stalked by saboteurs. Saboteurs who create computer viruses. The Defense Department, universities, and research centers are still recovering tonight from a computer virus that brought a nationwide network to a standstill.
There was no sign of survivors in the Strait of Hormuz, where an Iranian airliner with 290 people aboard was shot down by a missile fired from an American ship.
The aircraft was about 9 miles away. Vincennes fired 2 standard surface-to-air missiles, at least one of which hit at an approximate range of 6 miles.
My fellow citizens, last night I ordered U.S. military forces to Panama. No president takes such action lightly. This morning, I want to tell you what I did and why I did it. For nearly 2 years, the United States, the nations of Latin America and the Caribbean have worked together to resolve the crisis in Panama. The goals of the United States have been to safeguard the lives of Americans, to defend democracy in Panama, to combat drug trafficking, and to protect the integrity of the Panama Canal Treaty. Many attempts have been made to resolve this crisis through diplomacy and negotiations. All were rejected by the dictator of Panama, General Manuel Noriega, an indicted drug trafficker.
Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall.
What would really happen if the Berlin Wall came down was the perennial question. Tonight, we are getting the answer. Berliners, east and west, are celebrating a moment they have been dreaming about since the wall went up 28 years ago. These were among the first East Berliners to come across. They said they'd never been here before and just wanted to see what it was like. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.